As in tarot spreads, there are all sorts of different ways that you can do spreads. Now, I like to usually ask somebody to pick one rune to begin with, and I would ask a question or get them to ask a question about that. So, say for example, the question was, is the friend, I have a new friend, really like them, I don't know how it's going to work out, what's going to happen? And they go through and they pick one, and they pick this one. And so this is Laguz, and it's all about positivity, emotion and love, things kind of going your way. And I would say, yes, absolutely, this is a really positive rune. This is like water flowing. It's going to be a good flow to this relationship, and that's very positive. If they wanted to have something, a reading with a little bit more depth to it, and then I would choose the past, present, future, and I often like to put in an extra one with a 3 reading, which is kind of the overriding theme. So let's say this, I said, okay, let's just pick 4 runes and see where you're at. So they pick these runes, and this rune here, which you may remember, is the hailstone rune, and that's Hagalaz, and that's about disruption. So there's been a lot of disruption in their past, difficulties, things going wrong, sudden action out of the blue, lightning bolts that they weren't too happy with, didn't understand why, what, how, and it's totally and completely freaked them out. So they're now in a situation where they're stuck. They feel isolated. They don't know what's going to happen. They're frozen in a state of shock, and they're not sure how they're going to get through it. And then the future is this one here. So they go from Isa to Berkana. Berkana is about renewal and growth. It's about, remember the breasts we talked about. It's about the mother goddess, the nurturing. So this is going to lead to a period of time where they start to look after themselves, and there's a healing period, and things are looking positive for the future. Now, I have with the overriding rune here, that gives me an idea of what this is all about, why this happened to this person. And the rune that was picked here was the Taiwas, which is about the rune of success, and also about direction and motivation and discipline. So this was about a lesson of focusing this person's mind. Prior to this, they probably were not really on their spiritual path, or they'd kind of let things go a little bit. Maybe they haven't been strong enough with their boundaries. So the universe sent a lesson of hailstone lesson, the Hagalaz of the bolts, is like, right, come on, you've got to pay attention here. And that led to them having to go within, thinking about how they can move through this. And they came out with their own connection with their own divine feminine, and being able to find healing and positivity in order to learn the lesson. So that would be that reading there. You can make up anything you like, really. This is a new one that I've been using, which I really like, where I just turn all the runes around in a circle. I like the idea of the circle because a lot of things in the life of the ancestors were about circles, circular caves, sitting in circles in the family, sitting around a fire. It was all about circles. Circle of life, the circle of nature that they were so much more in touch with. It was all about circles. So I like the idea of having a circle. Make sure you can see it here. So I would say to the circle of runes here, okay, show me the main essence of what's happening with this person right now. Show me what they're struggling with, that they need help and guidance with. And I'd do this, whatever, feel the energy, ask them to pick one. Okay, so this is the one that I'm drawn to. So this is the rune Uruz, which is about strength. It's pushing through. So this person is trying to push through. They've got a lot of strength, but they haven't quite reached a stage where they can get through. They're having to dig deep for strength. So I would look at why. Okay. So this is a lot about community. There's various other things it's about, but like intuitively I'm finding out this is about community. There's something going on here for this person that's about community, that's about receiving strength and help from others, that's struggling to get the help that they need somehow to connect more with their community. I'm just looking through here for a particular page just to remind me, because there's one word that I want to find associated with this rune. And it's skipped my mind, bear with me. There we go. Right, yes. This is about the word that skipped my mind, or the phrase is power of the mind, power of the mind. They feel like an outsider because they're disconnected from God. So they need strength and they need strength, they need community, and it's the power of the mind that's getting in the way. And the reason why I probably couldn't find it is because I'm very much attached to my own mind and I don't trust my intuition at times. So I should have just trusted with my intuition and gone with that, because I probably would have come up with the same thing. But my mind gets in the way. And I think, well, maybe this is because I'm picking these runes. This is all about me, isn't it? Sometimes I don't have the strength of my own convictions to be able to just trust. This can be concern over family stuff, but it's the sense of isolation, being disconnected from God, the strength to have trust that you're never separate. So I'd say that's very relevant for me, that it's a good reminder for me to know that I'm always connected and that's where my strength comes from. And I would choose one more, this one. And that reminds me, ISA is about... it's about the ice that melts, isn't it? It's about a process that you're in, where you feel stuck and you can't move forward because you feel like you have frozen. And this sense of frozen here, for me, is about needing to work on certain aspects of my life where I'm frustrated. Having a teenager that's going to uni takes up an awful lot of energy and time at the moment in my life, and I do feel frustrated sometimes that I can't get on with the things that I want to do, which is all about my connection. So I'm spending a lot of time developing my spiritual path, but often I have to make sandwiches or do laundry, and this comes up for me an awful lot. So I would say this is very relevant to me, and my group, my community, my circle, my guides have given me the information that the biggest issue for me right now, which is absolutely spot on, is that I feel, and it's not past, present, future, remember this particular reading, it's about giving me an insight into the one thing that's going on, which is, where do I get my strength? I get my strength from my connection with spirit, and that is not always possible when I am needing to do the mundane things in life, and that's where my frustration, but I have to remember that ice melts. So that's my my kind of tribal circle reading, which I really enjoy. So there are different ways of doing it. There's also the tarot way of doing it, which is where you pick seven. So you pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where you have past, present, future, obstacles, influences, outcome, and what's going to happen if you don't focus on what's going on. So that's my 7. That's not always everybody's 7, but that's my way of reading this 7. So Again, if I was going to do a very quick interpretation of these, Radu, my favourite, journey between the worlds, spirituality, past, yes, if this is about me again, yes, had an awful lot of time spent developing my spirituality through my life, communicating it to others, yes, that's present, that's exactly what I'm doing right now in this very, very minute. Moving into a phase of initiation and receiving the gifts of the goddess, which I look forward to, that's wonderful. Here again, we're talking about my mind, so past, present, future influences is my mind. My mind is very strong, so I influence what happens, but also my sense of disconnection if I don't stay on track. Obstacles, influences, obstacles. If I'm not directed, if I'm not focused, I will lose my way. Outcome, oh, my lovely antlers here. Healing and protection. So, and swift movement of the elk. If I choose to kind of move things forward in my life in other directions, or deepen what I'm doing already, this will help me move very, very quickly. But I have to have the right intention, right action. That's what always goes along with this rune, algaes. I have to have the right intention. And then this is kind of, influences everything. It's the outcome. And if I need this in order to manifest all of this. And this is Airwas, which is about cooperation and partnership and fertility and coming together with others. And that's definitely, I'm starting to work more in collaboration. I used to be a solitary witch type. Now I am working more in collaboration. So it's absolutely spot on. You saw that I just picked randomly. So that gave me a really beautiful interpretation for me. So let's put those aside and let's have a look briefly at the Ogham. These are a little bit harder to pick because right now they're open in front of me, and I know which ones are here. So it is a little bit harder. Let's see if I can do it in such a way that, it's kind of, I know what's going on. Don't know what's going on, rather. Although I do know the shapes of them as well, so I'm a little bit kind of difficult for me to do this randomly, but let's just pick this one. Okay. So this one is the willow again. And for me, there is a period of grief going on and some tears because there's been some changes and some loss. So this is very right for me right now. So as a one rune pick, that one is spot on. It's like, I feel like the willow, but also I feel like the willow in the sense that I'm very much in the flow of it. I understand the nature of grief and that it comes and goes, like the willow comes and goes, and also that there is kind of a romantic aspect of death and grief where you do have this feeling of like the person who's moved on, either they've left your life or they've died, that you romanticize about them too. So I do feel like this is not in a romantic sense for me, in a relationship romantic sense, but it is more about kind of loss and grief and moving through that. So there you go. It's pretty much the same thing. You can ask. I have these lovely little purses here, and I just put them in here, and I ask people to take them out, particularly the Ogham, because they are picky and people look at the symbols. So it's easier to turn these in a way that people can't see what they're picking. These are less easy. So there you go, that's my spreads, that's how I use them, and please feel free to let me know if you come up with some great ideas for new spreads. Okay, thank you.